When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. If you'd like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. Now before we get onto this, before we continue on with the story, it's a slight update on my current events that's happening. I'm in the middle of the process, will be moving, so there probably won't be any videos for a little bit because, eventually my internet will be cut off and I'm going to have to wait until I get internet set up to the new place. So there'll be no more uploads for the time being. Hopefully it doesn't take me too long. I'll try to get everything set up as soon as possible so I can continue uploading my content. Now with that out of the way, let's continue where we last left off in our story. After the sports festival concluded, Deku spent a good time between his lab and being Dr. Ojiko's lab assistant. As soon as Deku got the news that the Class 1A students are doing their internship with a pro hero, he wasn't impressed by Bakugo, his ex-best friend, but his sister is another story. Deku watched his target enter the pro agency of Ryugu, the dragon hero, with a brunette girl named Ochako Uraraka. Another girl right next to, besides her, is a girl with pink skin and pink hair, known as Mina. Deku is on top of a nearby building looking through binoculars down upon the agency until a black portal opened up from behind him, revealing Shigaraki. There you are, Deku. You're hard to track down. I do apologize, Shigaraki. My schedule has been quite hectic nowadays. So, who are you stalking? 3 of the Class 1A students that caught my interest at the sports festival. Just want to play with them for a little bit. Nothing too serious. Think of it as a little preview. Prologue mission. I like it. Just don't cause too much havoc. So who are the unlucky squirts you're going after? Here, as Deku hands over a file, Shigaraki looks through it. Gravity, acid, explosion, quirks. A quirk duo. As Shigaraki was quite intrigued. That's a very interesting lineup you got there, Deku. You sure like your game lingo, Shigaraki. Shigaraki simply shrugged his shoulders at the comment. It's far more entertaining that way, to think of it as like a video game. Just don't kill any of them. Not yet, at least. Don't worry, I won't kill any of the Class 1A girls. I just want to have some fun with them. That's all. I know better to get in your way when you get that crazy look in your eye. I'll leave you to your fun. We have a Nomu nearby. Nomu, you say? It's one of the Nomus that we use for spying and recon. It has the ability to transfer images to the bar. What the Nomu sees, we'll be able to observe your little play date with the 3 UA students back at the bar. I'll leave it to you. I need to make some snacks before the show begins. Don't have too much fun now. I'm surprised you're allowing me to do this, considering you were so adamant about laying low. That's true, but it's been quite boring around the bar. Nothing good on the television. So this would be a nice change of pace. We need to scope out our opponents anyways. We got some good intel on the sports festival, but that was in a controlled environment. This will be a real test for these little students. After all, they'll be fighting against a real villain. With that said, Shigaraki disappeared and went back to the bar through the portal to make some nachos and prepare for the show that's about to happen. The Nomu in question is a crow Nomu that transfer images to any electronic devices, specifically to the television in the bar. As the league gather up around the TV in preparation for the show to start, the members are not currently on a mission like Togo, but the rest of the league will be able to see what Deku is about to do. Deku shadowed the dragon hero Ryugu and her intern on a patrol for a couple days. The internship was supposed to last at least an entire month, giving Deku plenty of time to make his presence known to the hero and the hero recruits at his own leisure. Deku found himself watching the little scuffle. They're fighting against some low-tier villains. No one at note, not even worth his time. But he watched them regardless, to see how well they do. Alright girls, get in formation. These might be low-tier villains, but that doesn't make them any less dangerous. Remember your training. All 3 girls said at the same time, "Yes, sensei." Deku watches the scene transpire with great interest. Highly impressed by the performance of their teamwork, Deku decided to introduce himself when the number of villains became manageable for the heroes and her interns. Out of nowhere, Ryugu sees several huge bone-like animal skulls come into existence, hovering all around them. As a humongous skull lowers down with someone on top of it, she couldn't tell who it was by his face. By the face guard is blocking the bottom part of his face, but she could clearly see the green hair and green glowing eyes as a humongous skull begins to hover downwards. With one motion of Deku's hand, several Gaster blasters flew forward as they latched their jaws onto the low-tier villains, as everyone could hear a crunch. As the villain's skin was pierced by the teeth of the floating skulls, and as they tossed the villains up in the air, as all of the Gaster blaster that make contact with the villain shoot out a beam of energy out of their mouths, vaporizing them on the spot. Be on guard, girls. He's dangerous. It is a pleasure to meet you, Dragon Hero Ryuku. I'm not afraid to admit I was quite a fan growing up. No matter. You have me at a disadvantage, villain. Deku begins to cackle. As he stopped, got serious. They call me Deku. I hope your insurance are good at dodging because they'll need to be on the lighter feet to survive. As all of the remaining Gaster blasters in the sky, shooting beams of energy out of their mouths, forcing all four of the heroes to separate, start dodging the beams of energy raining down upon them. More Gaster blaster comes into existence and shoots more beams at the heroes. While Deku is still hovering in the air on top of one of his larger Gaster blasters that he created to see what the heroes would do, Deku found Pro Hero Ryuku distracted by his floating skulls of death and jumped off one of his Gaster blasters and charged forward. When he landed immediately, he went into a run. The moment his foot touched the ground, as Deku kicked up dust, as he slammed his fist across Ryuku's face, as she goes flying through several buildings, and doesn't seem to be stopping. Deku used his quirk to separate the three Class 1A students, to isolate his main target, Katsuki, Bakugo's older twin sister. Katsuki immediately stopped moving when she noticed those strange-looking skulls stop shooting energies out of their mouth. They're just hovering over her, but they're no longer attacking. Katsuki heard clapping in the distance. As she turned her head towards the direction of the clapping, she hears the person responsible for the floating skulls in the air, as she growled at the villain. You're pretty light on your feet. No doubt your explosion quirk was a great asset when you were fleeing for your life, hero. Know what you're doing, villain. Trying to rile me up. If you use the same tactic in front of my little annoying brother, no doubt your little game would be going your way. But I'm not my idiot brother. I'm the superior sibling. I won't be goaded in attacking blindly. Don't know why I caught your interest. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to hold. That doesn't mean I am going to allow you to do what you wish. I won't hold back, villain. And that will be your downfall. Aren't we confident? You might be hot shit in the sports festival, girly, but you're in the real world. Regardless if you want to fight me or not, you don't have a choice in the matter. I'm a villain, you're a hero. We have our roles to play. And if you continue to resist, then you force my hand. Get a good look at the people all around this neighborhood. They won't be here for very much longer. Katsuki's eyes widen as she narrowed her eyes upon the villain. Notice his tone and implications. You wouldn't dare. Would I? as several of the gaster blasters turn in the direction of all the civilians fleeing upon the street and begin to charge up a beam blast from their mouth. Kasuki leapt forward and started to yell at the villain, telling him to stop. Deku grabbed Kasuki and bent her arm against her back and kicked the back of her knee, making her kneel to one knee. As he grabbed the other hand and put it behind her back. As he has a firm hold on the girl, pinning both her arms with one hand, as Deku grabbed her by the blonde hair and forced her to watch. What are you doing? Release me, villain. I don't think so. You need to realize the situation you're in, girly. This is the real world. There's always consequences of your actions. Their deaths are on your hands, hero. As Kasuki watches in horror, seeing the innocent civilians being vaporized by the beam of light shooting out of the floating skull's mouths, and the villain doesn't seem to be done, Deku immediately let go of Kasuki and jumped backwards, narrowly missing a fist from Ryuko just in time to save her charge, her little intern. You okay, Kasuki? That bastard killed them without even batting a fucking eye. He's a villain, Kasuki. He's no villain. He's a fucking monster. She gathered all her resolve and got up to her feet to stare daggers at Deku. She might have a tough interior and a very proud nature of herself, of her accomplishments. But in truth, she is a kind-hearted girl under all that bravado. That's why she never agreed with her brother of the mistreatment of Izuku. Izuku, to her, Midoriya, was a kind-hearted, gentle boy with a very powerful quirk. It didn't click in her head until she got a good look at the villain. They have very similar traits, with the green hair and green eyes. She does has her suspicions, but the likelihood of the villain being Izuku is pretty much insane in her eyes. She refused to believe that Izuku is the villain one and the same. Charge forward, Kasuki. It would be unwise for you to get in close quarters combat with this villain. He seems to have some sort of inhuman super strength, alongside with his weird quirk. Just provide me with some support. Ryuko charged forward. Deku saw her charge forward. He did the same as he met her halfway. When their fists collided with each other, there was a small shockwave of wind pressure. Deku was sent backwards from the solid hit across his face after their initial attack collided with each other. Deku rubbed the area where he got struck on the side of his face, as he has a massive grin under his face guard. Deku stood up straight and rubbed the dirt off of his cheek as he used the gaster blasters that formed around his hands. Deku proceeded to shoot beams of his gaster blasters, beams of light, from the gauntlets He kept throwing, punching in the direction of the hero, forcing the hero to dodge out of the way from the beam of light that vaporized a half a car from behind her. Deku used this surprise from the beam of light, destructive power. About time Ryugu noticed Deku, it was already too late. Deku lands a vicious uppercut, landing underneath Ryugu's chin, making her airborne. She used this chance to fix her posture by popping out two dragon wings out of her back. She found a way to use her quirk in her original form, only producing wings, a partial transformation. It took her many months and hard training to figure it out and master it. Deku did not stop his assault though. Seeing the hero pop out wings out of her back, he begins to throw punch after punch towards the hero as there are shots of beam of energy out of the gauntlets. If you guys don't remember, it's not really a gauntlet, it's just smaller gaster blasters over his fists, shooting beams of energy out of their mouths. This is I'm gonna show you the picture so you get the basic idea if you're not familiar with the gaster blasters. From Undertale. This is basically what it looks like. To give you a image of what it looks like. Ryugu dodged several beams being shot at her while flying around in the air. He leaped off the ground and landed on one of his gaster blasters and proceeded to repeat the process until he got a high enough distance. As he jumped up in the air from the top of one of the gaster blasters and slammed his fist into Ryugu's stomach, then proceeded to knock her downwards and place his gaster blaster gauntlet downwards and blast a beam of energy downwards, engulfing the hero in a beam of light. The moment Ryugu made contact with the ground immediately cracked, getting spiderweb cracks into the street as Deku jumped down from gaster blaster, eventually landing on a bigger one to hover downwards to the ground. Kasuki immediately charged forward and blasted Deku with her explosion, forcing Deku to skid backwards when the explosion made contact with this person. When the smoke cleared, you can see Deku with his arms crossed from each other. By doing so at the last moment, he prevented himself from being seriously injured. The special created clothing Deku constantly wears in battle were made to absorb mass powerful explosions. Deku had them made specifically in mind of the twins. He knew one day he would come across the Bakugo twins at some point. He knows both of these blondes would be would be heroes. They have too much potential not to be. Deku did not notice the white blur heading towards him with incredible speed in his direction as he looked downward to see a white-haired woman on all fours in front of him with long bunny ears, with a savage grin on her face. Mirko jumped up and did a spin kick. She was quite surprised that the villain managed to stop her kick. As they both separate from each other, as more heroes start to arrive. You're new. I haven't seen your face around here before. And you managed to stop my kick. You must be pretty strong if you did that. That I am, pro hero Mirko. So you heard of me? Of course I have. Your reputation precedes itself. You're one of the few heroes that I am very wary of. It would be a shame for us to stop our little dance. I'm gonna have your comrades be a little bit busy. As more gaster blasters come into existence and shoot beams of energy at the other heroes, forcing them to dodge or try to get out of the way of the beam heading towards them. That was going on. Mirko and Deku charged forward, jumping towards each other. Deku jumped over a medium kick that came from Mirko. About time Deku landed on his feet, he had to duck under a incoming medium kick towards his direction by the bunny hero. Doing so, placing himself in the perfect position to counterattack as he slammed his fist right in the middle of the hero's chest. Then another shot at her ribs. Then a straightforward punch in her face as Mirko did a backflip to land on both of her feet and got into a fighting stance while she wiped the blood from her mouth. As she still has a feral expression on her face, like she's extremely enjoying this fight. You're good. You're real good. What did they call you, villain? Deku. Prepare yourself, Deku. The kid gloves are coming off. When Mirko initiated the first move, Deku barely was able to keep up with the bunny hero as she slammed her foot into Deku's stomach, making him go flying through several buildings until a diesel trailer truck stopped his momentum. It didn't take Mirko very long to catch up with Deku to see the big hole out of the trailer of the truck from Deku flying through it. She waited, and she wasn't disappointed as Deku stepped out of the hole of the trailer that's attached to the diesel truck and began to crack his neck a little bit and stretch out his arms. Before Deku could continue his fun with the pro hero, as a familiar ringtone began to go off in his pocket. One moment, please, pro hero Mirko. The pro hero simply raised her eyebrow at that and watched him take out a phone out of his pocket and place it against his ears. Deku-kun, I hope you're not in a life and death battle as a hero without me. Well, what would make you think that, dear? Because, dear, to my surprise, when I got home at my apartment, when I turned on the television, to see you on several of the different channels, dear. Finish up and come home. Deku is unsure if the fact that he's fighting a hero by himself without her was the reason of her anger. She's general upset for himself, putting himself in danger. A piss-off Toga is a situation he's going to try his best to avoid at all costs. I believe you had enough fun for today, dear. I would advise you to get home before I have dinner finished. Deku does enjoy Toga's homemade cooking, and he doesn't really want to sleep on the sofa tonight, so his choice was quite simple. Are you mad that I went off to fight a bunch of heroes without you? Of course I'm mad. You're having all the fun. Now get home. As you command, my blonde vixen. Shut up, Deku-kun, and come home in one piece, please. I'll try my best. As Deku hanged up the phone and put it back in his pocket, Mirko caught a good portion of the conversation on the phone because of her superior hearing. She doesn't have bunny ears for nothing. They're not just for show. Do apologize, Mirko. I'm going to have to take a rain check on our little dance. Burst your bubble, kid, but you're not going anywhere. That's where you're wrong, as a humongous gaster blaster appeared right in front of Mirko. As it began to charge its beam from its mouth. Oh shit. As the humongous beam of energy shut out and engulfed several streets, destroying several buildings. The Gaster Blaster shot his beam, a portal up from behind Deku. As Deku stepped through and disappeared, as he reappeared back at Toga's apartment. Toga was startled by the portal just appearing in her apartment as she threw one of her knives at Deku. By pure instinct, Deku dodged it away, but get nicked on the side of his cheek, on his face, drawing blood. I didn't think you were that upset, dear. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. It was a reflex. I'm going to have a conversation with Kirigiri back at the bar. I told him a million times, don't open portals in the middle of my fucking apartment. Toga grabbed the first aid kit and dragged Deku to the couch as she begins to clean the wound on the side of his face with the deep cut that she made. Looks like you need stitches. Toga opened up the first aid kit and took out a long needle and heated up to sterilize the needle as she begins to stitch up Deku after giving him some painkillers. Toga is more concerned that she accidentally cut Deku when he appeared through the portal in the middle of her apartment. Irritation and anger disappeared, replaced with worry and concern. She likes blood, but she doesn't like to see blood coming off of Deku's body. It unnerves her. On the battlefield, Mirko shoved up the rubble that managed to land on top of her when she went through several buildings from the huge beam of energy that she got hit with by the weird floating skull. Mirko blew a single strand of hair from her face, of her forehead, blocking her view. Eraserhead has finally arrived on the battlefield. You're a little late, Eraserhead. I might be a hero, but I'm a teacher as well. I couldn't leave my student. What's the damage? Who is responsible for all this carnage? A villain named Deku. Funky little brat. Eraserhead eyes widen slightly, so he finally resurfaced. I take it you know the brat. I've met him before. If he's the cause of this destruction, he's got a lot more powerful since the last time we crossed paths. What I'm wondering, how he managed to keep up with you. Deku Quirk is unique and quite powerful, but he doesn't have the necessary physical power to fight with you one-on-one. I don't know where you get your intel, Eraserhead. This villain Deku had incredible physical strength. It even matched my own. It might even surpass. It might even be more. He might be even more stronger than me. But I couldn't figure it out yet. We didn't have a chance to prolong our fight. But but I could easily tell the little brat was holding back. But, but how, but how? He didn't have such strength when I fought him. I don't know how. I know better not to believe you. If he indeed did not have the super strength prior to your conflict with him. Eraser had noticed Principal Nezu coming out of his car and walking towards them, interrupting their conversation any further. Presto's destruction, horrible but impressive. We'll be holding a meeting at UA about this new villain, Deku. He's far too dangerous to be left with his own devices. Wouldn't you agree, Eraserhead? Completely agree with you, Principal Nezu. Should I contact All Might? At the moment, he is currently overseas in America. He'll be coming back to Japan when the next year begins. For UA, he'll be one of the teachers. Will you be attending the meeting as well? Your insight will be most appreciated. Mirko. Suppose I couldn't refuse, Nezu. I will be at this meeting. As well, I encountered the villain when I was on patrol with my interns. Excellent. Be at UA in 30 minutes. I'll see you there. 30 minutes later, several heroes arrive at UA in the empty classroom, while Principal Nezu wait patiently for the rest of the heroes to arrive. Mirko, Ryuku, Eraserhead were the first ones to arrive. Shortly after, Endeavor showed up, eventually, alongside President Mike, Midnight, Woods, Kami Woods, and the last hero to arrive was Mount Lady. When Nezu saw the last hero showed up at the meeting, he immediately started the meeting immediately. Thank you for all showing up on short notice. I know you're all quite busy. This is extremely important. Need your undying attention. We have a new villain that's been causing trouble for quite some time now. As Principal Nezu pinned a picture up to the large clipboard in the middle of the classroom, the only image of the villain named Deku, wearing some sort of metal face guard covering the bottom portion of his face. This is the new villain that goes by Deku. Eraserhead, you've had prior experience with this villain. Understood, sir. I found about this villain by pure accident. I was first investigating odd disappearance, and I came across him, and then I started to track him down. He's a very dangerous info broker that released several detailed information about heroes that were taken down and killed shortly afterwards. I stumbled upon his trail not that long ago. I don't know much about his companions, but they managed to infiltrate and rob that jewelry store that's been all over the news, that has links to the criminal underworld in America. We engaged in combat. At the time, he didn't have any super strength. He had average strength, around his age. But apparently that has changed. For simply scoffed, not caring about this, not one bit. Care who this villain is. He's a small fry. This is a waste of my time. I'm leaving. Razorhead narrowed his eyes at Endeavor. He's never like the man. He's extremely overconfident, arrogant, and a bit of a prick. Mirko simply scoffed at the second-ranking hero. What's the matter in number 2? Scared? What did you say, woman? I didn't stutter, Firebrain. You clearly are scared of the kid. He even fought one-on-one against me and managed to keep up. He even fought Ryuku. He might be a villain, but he's no small fry. He destroyed several streets with a single use of his quirk. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen a quirk like that. Floating animal skulls in the sky, shooting beams of energy. And apparently, the little bastard has somewhat complete control over the size of them. That's not even including his insane physical strength and cunning mind. If you underestimate him, you'll die. Or shut the door and walk further into the room as he crossed his arms across his chest. Now a bit more interested. I want to know everything. Mirko had a smug expression on her face, forming into a grin. Several months has passed since his public debut. His villain debut. As Deku is currently in his lab with a healed Dabi, no longer have scars on her face or her body, as she let her hair grow out. She stopped using her hair dye. As she looked upon herself in the mirror, touching her face, and amazement. Incredible, you have done that no one was able to do. I was told by several doctors that my condition was permanent. My skin was too heavily damaged. Those doctors were idiots. Fixing the damaged skin was only part of the problem. Your body is meant for an ice quirk. You simply don't have the resistance for your fire. I just spliced your geno a little bit, so your body would have a natural resistance for your fire instead of ice. It was quite easy to do by fixing your skin. It was quite easy to do. Fixing your skin, on the other hand, was a bit more challenging. But I like how it turned out. I just had to capture a few people with regeneration quirks. After studying their blood and abilities, I infused it in with a new serum for rapid regeneration when injured. Then I dispose of them after I no longer need them. I could easily synthesize more of the formula without any further needing any donors. Didn't have to work from scratch. I've made a similar serum for super strength. I just had to tweak my current formula a little bit. I was quite skeptical at first when you first approached me on this. Don't get me wrong. I know you're smart and quite capable, but this was something out of the realm I thought was even possible. It's quite alright. It's only natural. Dolby gave Deku a brief hug and thanked Deku. Deku knows the type of girl Dobby is. She's not really the type for physical affection. Doesn't show physical affection very, very often, as they broke apart. You need this It's a medical cream I made for your new healed skin. Apply it to the healed areas at night. Use it until it runs out. Your new skin would have already adapted to your old skin by then, once you fully run out of cream. I suggest you allow your skin to heal before you attempt to use your fire. I finished version 1 of my super strength serum. Please sit down. Dobby sat down. It's not as powerful as the prototype you tested a while back ago. I had to lessen the effects so your body can handle the physical power, so your bones don't shatter. You might not be able to use your fire quirk, while your replaced skin is infusing with your old. It's going to take some time for you to heal properly, but I was going to leave you vulnerable, so I'll be injecting you with the permanent serum. Deku took the injector out of his lab coat and hooked up the serum into the device and inject Dobby into it. How long will I see the results? It will take 24 hours. By then, you will show signs of having some form of super strength work. Or just having some sort of super strength. Deku's phone went off as he picked up a familiar number as the operator's on the other end. It's been a while, operator. Bet it has, Deku. I got the information you requested. A good portion of the safety committee members will be at their headquarters tonight, discussing some sort of meeting. Excellent. The funds are being transferred now. It's a pleasure to do business with you, Deku. Don't hesitate to contact me once again if you need any more assistance. I'll keep that in mind. Deku closed the phone and put it in his pocket. What did the operator wanted? Give me some information about the safety committee whereabouts. Ever since a few of the members started to come up dead, they went into hiding. They just resurfaced. Deku left the lab with Dobby, and they went their separate ways. As Deku arrived at Lady Nagant's apartment, after he knocked, she allowed him in, as they both sat down across from each other on one couch. Deku's on one couch and Lady Nagant is on the other, in the living room. How you been holding up? Good, I take it this is not a social call. Sadly, it's not. I came some interesting information that a good portion of the safety committee board members has resurfaced. They're holding some sort of meeting at their headquarters tonight. Not all of them are there, but a good portion of them. I do apologize for taking so long to get back to you with the information. Ever since they went to hiking, ever since they went into hiding, they were hard to track down. When I told you when you first joined me, I would help you with taking these guys down. And I'm a man of my word. That you are, Deku. I have to get a few things before we act on the intel you gathered. Meet me here back at my apartment at 6 p.m. Very well, Lady Nagant. I need to visit my crazy vixen before we move out. I'll see you later today. Have a good day. As Deku left the apartment and made his way to Toga's apartment. He basically lives there by now, but that's not really the point. Hoping she's still there. She's still keeping her cover intact as a general studies student. When Deku entered the apartment, Toga immediately embraced Deku in a hug and greeted him by kissing him on the cheek. I'm going on a little assassination mission tonight. I was wondering if you want to tag along. We're going after some of the senior members of the safety committee at their headquarters tonight. We could definitely need a third person on this mission. It's probably going to be quite difficult. I thought you would never ask, Deku-kun. This gives me the chance to meet this Lady Nagant you spend so much time with. No reason to be jealous, Toga dear. I can't help it. Me and Lady Nagant are slowly becoming friends, but nothing else. You know full well my heart belongs to you, and you alone, my blonde vixen. I know, I just like to hear it, out loud. This is the perfect opportunity to test my new knives, as Toga took a large metal case from under her bed. When she placed the metal case on her bed, she opened it up to reveal several black metal throwing knives. That's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day, judged by time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.